can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
Oh, I saw it was Joe's birthday. Joe's birthday's today, but we celebrated it on Saturday. And I was talking to him about the podcast because he goes, "You guys are getting better, and I love the stuff you're doing." And da, 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 da. He goes, "But you're wrong. Dawn of the Dead's a brilliant movie. It's great. I watch it like once every few months." I'm going, "You're out of your mind." He goes, "No,
You
I
are
love
out
it.
of
I
your
think
mind.
it's great." I went, "Joe, you're going. I think there's problems with your medication. You need to adjust."
Honestly, when it first came out, I liked it better. I've always loved the beginning. I think the beginning's fantastic. But now watching it with previous Zack Snyder experience, I dislike it more because I see more of that crap, like especially Army of the Dead and all that shit with the bus at the end and them in the sea of zombies and stuff. I'm like, this is insane. It wouldn't work.
No.
It just it takes you right out because it makes absolutely no sense.
Agreed.
And I don't know why he likes it.
I blew him off and walked away because I couldn't handle it. No, just kidding.
Well, I mean, I would tell him, yeah, the first 10 minutes are fantastic. And then it kind of starts going downhill from there.
And Rebel freaking Moon.
There you go. I was like, who was it? I can't remember who I was listening to or reading that was talking about what a Star Wars ripoff it is. And I was like, David needs to know about this because it's got lightsabers and stuff. And then I found out that he was pitched it. Huh?
He pitched it as a Star Wars.
He did. So, and when they rejected it, he just would have made it anyway. And then I started watching the trailer and I was like, this movie doesn't just rip off Star Wars. This movie rips off like 5 other movies.
Oh, God, yeah. It's like I told you. It's Dune. It's John Carter on Mars. It's Avatar. Everything.
I mean, I saw like It with the spider person and all kinds of stuff. I was like, this is wild. It's kind of like he's the new Roger Corman.
Interesting.
I mean, when you think about it, it's like Zack Snyder is the new Roger Corman. People don't understand that, but he is.
Well, nope. I am starting on Tingler tomorrow, so hope to have that one done and using Descript. So hopefully that'll be faster.
You have to scream while you're doing it.
Yeah. Or just have the trippy effect.
The walls are closing in.
This window won't open.
I was looking through TCM on Hulu and I can record stuff and they're starting to drop some horror movies, I guess, because it's getting closer to October. They've got Mask of the Red Death and Hitting the Pendulum. I'm like, oh, I need to record those.
Those are both Hammers, right?
No, AIP.
AIP.
I think they're Vincent Price. They're not Hammer. Yeah. They're actually probably Roger Corman.
Because I've got a lunch and learn from 11:30 to 1. So
a lunch and learn.
It's done
brought to you by the reading whatever with LeVar Burton.
This is done by essentially the local Chamber of Commerce. They call themselves the Partnership, but they're doing
that sounds very Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, they're doing a Google business kind of a seminar over lunch. So I have to learn to Googleize a lot. So we'll see.
My husband Dennis has become the pioneer woman. He now makes pickles and preserves and all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. He's been doing a lot of pickled okra because I love pickled okra. And
I love pickled okra.
Yeah. And it's expensive. So he's been making tons of it. He puts jalapenos in it. So they're hot.
Spicy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he made strawberry preserves, which cracks me up because he doesn't eat those things, but he's making them. And he's like, I want to make some peach salsa, like peach hot stuff. And Thursday
Chutney.
and Thursday's the last day that J Moore Farms comes down and has a pop-up at our local hospital. And
Like a farmer's market thing?
Yeah. I told we've been getting fresh tomatoes. We've been eating bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches like all summer long. And because we get fresh tomatoes, and I told him I would go buy him some peaches and some okra or whatever he needs to do his thing. It's like being in my house with my mother when I was a kid.
Do you remember Kathy Scott with the pickled tomatoes?
They've been talking on Facebook. I mean, she saw his pictures of the stuff he had in the pantry, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love doing that kind of stuff." Yeah.
Oh my God, Barbara started doing that a little because. Anyway, she started doing that, and it's the same thing where she's going, "Did you hear him pop? Are you hearing my lids pop?" And I'm like going, I don't care. I'm not going to eat any
yes,
of
you
this.
do. Botulism.
But she boiling stuff. There's steam everywhere, and
and the whole house smells like vinegar.
Yeah. What is going on?
It's funny. I mean, Dennis is already a YouTube junkie. All we watch are programs on Disney or politics on YouTube. And now all we watch are like Dollywood and canning.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah.
You need a t-shirt.
My husband
is a canner.
Yeah. He's prepping.
Love that.
He's a prepper for the inevitable.
Oh, he's a prepper now.
Holocaust.
Yeah, he's got that too. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these folks are on there. You can tell.
Yeah, kind of scary, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, this one woman's like, I'm making cowboy candy. It's candied jalapenos. We're going to make 15 pounds. And I'm serious. They cut up 15 pounds of jalapeno peppers. That's a lot of fucking jalapeno peppers.
That's a lot of peppers. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, do you really eat all those through the winter? And then she's like, well, I like canning them more than freezing. And people are like, why? And she's like, because when the power goes out, everything's destroyed. I'm like, oh, I think you could be a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pick up with the thing.
Yeah. And then I'll pick up with synopsis and all that.
Okay. Because we've got it's a first for us.
Yeah.
There's first for us with this, and there's first with us with Illustrated Man too.
One of the first in Illustrated.
I think it's the first Bradbury we've ever done.
Really?
And it's definitely the first sci-fi anthology we've ever done.
That's right. We've done anthologies, but they've all been horror.
Right. So there's a couple of firsts with that one as well. Okay. So we're starting off the year with a bang.
Okay.
And I planned all that.
Of course you did. Yeah. Yeah. Hobbiton. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather have that or Mordor?
No, I'm going to do my Enchanted Forest because it looks kind of different.
I just didn't know because, like I said, once
you
mine
put that
goes
freaking
away,
Gandalf in the damn Hobbiton and that gay-looking Gandalf there, I can't use that. What are you talking about? Just kidding.
This Hobbit is gay.
This Hobbit is gay.
Yeah, no, he's also a fetishist. He's into big feet.
Is it? Could be. All right. 3, 2,
1. I watched the second season of Heartstopper, which is it's so sweet and sappy. It's based on a graphic novel about 2 high school boys that it's British that fall in love, and one's a rugby player and the other is kind of not very athletic, but he ends up playing rugby and they end up, I don't know. It's like the gayest high school on the planet Earth. And I would encourage any conservative person like Mitch McConnell or anyone to watch this show because it would either melt their frigid hearts, or it would make them squirm like the creeps they are.
Well, okay then.
I mean, when I say gay, well, first of all, there are trans kids in this school. There are lesbians. There are asexuals. There are gays. I mean, it's the whole spectrum. I mean, so it's very. I mean, it's what you would want to be a realistic picture, but it's probably a little far-fetched, because it's like there's no way that. But I mean, maybe England is more liberal. I don't know. And France, they do go to France for a field trip. And anyway, it's the second season. It's not something that it's something I wish I had been able to watch 30 years ago. But now that I watch it, I just like, am I really watching this? This is so sweet. Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Hey, did you ever watch the series? Because I noticed it's on. I notice IMDb is pushing it right now, so it may be on something like Netflix or coming out. Did you ever watch the series when it was out called Grimm?
I think I remember that, but I didn't watch it. I remember, wasn't there a movie too?
Oh, I don't think so.
Maybe it was the Brothers Grimm.
One of the guys there's one called Brothers Grimm, which is the movie it was actually pretty good. It was we should look at that like Matt sometime.
Matt, what's his face in it?
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Somebody in it. Yeah, it was pretty good. But no, this was a series, and basically, yeah, it's kind of like they live as a total horror story. All the Grimm fairy tales are real. So there really are werewolves. There really are a Hansel and a Gretel. And it's pretty good. I remember it because one of the guys I see probably 3 times a year on shows is their head of lighting for the television show. And I work with him about 3 times a year, and he's really a great guy. But I just saw it on IMDb and thought of that and thought that might be something for you to watch in your spare time, because it was a great series. I only watched like the first 3 seasons, but they were all great.
I'm sure there's several foreign horror series out there I could catch on.
Yeah, you don't want to catch those. Why would you catch those? Don't do that.
But the guy that plays Nick on this Heartstopper, his name is Kit something. He's a very
Kit Harington?
No, he's a very handsome 18-year-old boy. And he's probably 19 now, but the internet trolled him last October and forced him to come out as bi, and he let people have it. He said, I'd like to thank the internet for forcing an 18-year-old out of the closet and ignoring the message of the show Heartstopper in all regards.
Dang.
Yeah. I was like, wow. Okay. And he also won an Emmy.
Okay.
I don't know if it's an American Emmy or the British Emmy, but he won like a youth Emmy for playing this role. He's really good. I mean, actually the whole cast is good. It reminds me a lot of Sex Education, that other show I told you about.
Yeah.
But Sex Education is much more mature. This is more sweet. There's like not a lot of sex at all in this, just romance. Sex Education is all about sex. It's great.
It's great.
Yeah, you need to see that show. They're doing one more season, and it should be out whenever. It's a British show, so they don't have to worry about the strike.
And I should see it because of the sex.
Well, you should see it because Gillian Anderson's one of the leads in it.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and she plays a sex therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still one of the shows I would recommend highly to you. And I really want to read Stephen King's new one. I saw him do a little reading on YouTube from it. Holly.
Yeah. I saw one yesterday I was going to ask you about.
A book?
Stephen King book. Paperback. So it's obviously been out in hardback for a while. It was at the grocery store. It was
Billy Summers.
Yeah. It was a guy's name. Is that it? He's an assassin?
It's a great book. It's one of my favorite of his in the last 5 or so years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I almost picked it up because it looked really interesting because the book jacket of him, he's an assassin who only takes the bad guys. I want the really bad
it will suck you in and you will not be able to put it down.
Okay.
It is about a hitman on his last gig.
Right. Yeah.
Before he retires. And it's about how he goes into it full role playing. He moves into the area, becomes a person and a neighbor of people, gets an office in a building that he knows is going to be across from the place where he has to make the kill. But then it turns into a damn love story, man. He falls in love with this girl and all hell breaks loose. It's great, man. It is really, really good. And the ending blew my mind. I didn't think King still had it in him to pull something like what he pulls with the ending of this book. And it freaked me out.
Okay.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It came out about 3 years ago, I think.
Continue to look online at idiots tell me how to move a picture. Like I don't know how to freaking grab it.
Well, you just have to, it depends on your prompt. You need to redefine your prompt.
Yeah, right.
To be a little more specific.
Seems like the AI would be smarter.
Yeah, it would seem so, since AI is taking over the world.
I know it is. And
I mean, even if it came out in December, I was sweating it because I was like, is it going to be available in time for me to watch on TV? Because I don't want to go to the theater to see that.
Yeah, you do. It's going to be good. It's big. It's epic. It's huge.
I never go to the theater. I can't even tell you when the last time I was in the theater.
Well, you know.
I've made you sad.
You gotta love the movies.
They're too damn expensive.
True.
But 20 seems like too many.
Well, it's 1,001 movies. So how many horror genre movies are on that list? Let's just
that's what I'm saying.
Theorize.
It's a very
60.
My point exactly. It's a very broad scope for us to do a half an hour bonus episode on. So how do we narrow it down to fit our parameters?
Well, that's what I was saying. We would pick a number and say,
like, these 5 are not included and should be, and these
should be,
or should be and shouldn't be. And
right.
You do 5 horror, I do 5 horror, and you do 5 sci-fi.
Sure, that works for me. I
almost would rather do a top 5. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's do a top 5 then. And the next Star Trek is Gamesters of Triskelion.
Oh, cool. Kirk with his shirt off again.
And a porn star.
Is she a porn star? Because she looks like one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She was.
Is she Sika?
No. Elsa.
Is she
queen of the Nazis.
She's not Emmanuel.
Emmanuel in space.
Star Trek. I can't bring myself to finish Star Trek.
You've got to. You got to do
it. Why? What's the point? Oh, I didn't tell you, but who is the guy that plays Captain Pike?
Anson Mount.
He is a friend of my nephew Jason's.
He's an awesome guy.
They went to Swanee College of the South together.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay.
Jason wrote a 1-act play that he was in when they were in college.
Well, that's killer.
Yeah. So Jason,
he's great. I just wish they would A, use him this year, and B, use him as a captain.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing you'll see even later on, like the last 3 episodes, they start using him more because evidently his paternity leave was over or whatever. But he's not the same Pike as last season at all.
Well,
everybody else's opinions are so much more important. He lets everybody else decide stuff. He won't make any decision without checking with somebody else and saying, well, what do you think? This is your decision, kind of. It's terrible.
Well, Jason said he hadn't seen him or talked to him in a long time, but that he's certain that he would remember him. And
Well,
he
that's
said that
great.
he's a really super nice guy, and that he like was in some fraternity, and he still like gets them all together annually at some retreat or something. But yeah, I was like, oh, you know him. It was kind of funny because I remember he had told me that before, but I had forgotten. And then on this last trip to Florida, he told me again about it
Okay.
because I was telling him how the second season sucks.
Boy. 3, 2.
1. I'm tired of sleeping in a recliner and not
Well,
getting
yeah,
good sleep.
that's a very valid point.
He said it's called microsurgery. It's really low risk. The risk of infection, he said, was like 1%.
I need you to read Coma right before you go, so you know. And
listen to Michael Jackson before I take my mother's milk.
right. See if you can get Dennis to climb in the rafters above the operating theater so that he can make sure that there are no tubes up there or anything else.
Little lines that I could be hanging from, little cables.
Yes.
What is going on? I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. It's been a while. Well, I've been doing the thing, and then you did the thing, and now we're back from the things.
I watched the first 2 episodes of the Daryl Dixon Walking Dead show.
Yeah.
And
The France one. France one.
I'm blown away by it. I'm
All right.
like, I mean, Dead City was fun because it was Negan and Maggie in New York City. And it was like the apocalyptic zombie version of Escape from New York. Basically, this is a totally different vibe. I mean, you're in a foreign country. He's in France. It's got a lot of French language, so there's subtitles, but a lot of times there's no subtitles, so you don't know what they're saying.
Okay.
He encounters a zombie at the beginning, and remember I told you I thought they were going to have fast zombies, that something was going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not right now. There's no fast zombies, but there's some called burners, and when they grab you, they've got like some kind of acid in them, and it burns you. So he gets burned by a burner and rescued by a convent, and they treat him there. A bunch of French nuns.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh.
they have a kid. They are named Laurent, and there's lots of like, I don't know what the word is. There's lots of religious undertones. Like Laurent may be the second Messiah. I mean, it's got stuff in it that I've never seen in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
So it's like in a foreign country, foreign setting. It's got nuns, and they're basically recruiting Daryl to escort this child to a safe place because there's some bad guys in the neighborhood or whatever. And the scenery and the settings are amazing. Of course, it's French countryside.
Right. Well, you still need to watch This Is Us.
I mean, I could care less about the burner zombies. They didn't even have to put that in there. It's all the other stuff that's really cool. Like last night's episode was almost an hour and a half long. And they flash back to the main nun's character before she was at the nunnery. And she's not a nun. I mean, I guess she became one because she had to, because she was rescued by nuns. But they show the very beginning of the apocalypse in Paris and the city in chaos. And I mean, it was awesome. I was like, this is amazing. And it's her trying to rescue her sister who's pregnant. Then you end up learning that the child that they're insinuating is possible Messiah was actually the baby of her sister. And that the nuns found them. And that, I mean, I don't think that kid's the Messiah, but it's weird that they're putting like religious stuff in a Walking Dead show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
All right. 3, 2,
1. Do I look flesh tone now? A while ago, I thought I looked too washed out. Now I feel like I look too pink. Okay.
You look okay.
I'm trying to adjust my lighting because it's been bothering me here lately. And man, I was editing I think it was Shrinking Man, and you were like a Metallusion. You were like red with white hair. You fixed it. I was like, holy fuck. And well, I guess we don't have a lot of time, so maybe we should start. I was going to tell you all about Holly. I'm reading the new Stephen King book, and it is fucked up, man.
Meaning good or
good, but it's like, let's try another version of Silence of the Lambs. I'm like, oh, wow. It's just as creepy, just as sick, and it's not one killer but two. I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
But man, and then of course Holly Gibney's in it, and she's like one of his few continuing characters. And it's all set in, well, it's not all set. It's set pre-COVID, but it's like my book. It's like present, past. Instead of 3 months or however many mine is, 3 weeks difference, it's 3 years different. So it goes back to COVID. A lot of it is set during COVID, during the riots, during the Trump shit. I mean, he is putting lots of shit into this book.
Okay.
And plus you've got the whole murder mystery thing going on. It's great. I mean, it's really kind of blowing me away.
Well, I'm sure it's probably already been optioned too. So
maybe I probably need to find season 3 of Mr. Mercedes because I haven't watched it. But she talks about Bill a lot in it, because he's dead now in the literary world. Anyway, I will stop yammering and we can get to recording. And then I do the intro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2,
1.
You can't start the car. Johnny has